Welcome to Blockchain Basement. My name is TJ. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Coinbase shut down on March 4th. We're going to be looking at them getting away from Silvergate stock crashing, maybe potentially people moving to Signature. We got some news about the HBAR community, some big moves there, some token unlocks that you're going to want to know about. Also, a key individual being added to the board who definitely knows his way around Washington and blockchain industry, all that and more on today's episode of Blockchain Basement. Let's get it. You ready for this? I'm ready. I'm muted. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What do you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
Welcome into the basement dwellers. We're gonna have a really good time with you guys today. We've got an all-star crew. We've got the one and only DZ joining us today. The Druth is on fire. Hannah Hughes, BJ on the board, and of course all of you guys. Phil, Open, YouTube's Keno, Commando, Crunk, Svarge, Pete T, Reddish, one of our favorite chatters, Coin Operator, Sparkathor, Raul San Miguel, Razmataz, Casino Doggy, Manawak, Chemistry Bro, Joe Stonkman, Manly Crypto, Dude, What Does Mine Say, IB Mike King, 918 Rep. We love all of you guys. If you could, right at the start, smash the like button. Everybody's worried about DZ's gut. He's been eating cheesecake for breakfast, even though he's lactose intolerant. He likes to live on the edge. That's why he's in the basement with all you other degens. You know, he knows how to... high risk, high reward kind of lifestyle. So
That's right.
If you guys could smash that like button, let us know in the comments what kind of stuff you want us to talk about. I feel like it's a pretty boring news day, but we are going to be talking about some regulation kind of stuff. I mean, the most interesting thing, Silvergate Bank, one of the banks, which actually we covered in pretty good depth at the start of this show. Careful with the mic. Okay, well, we at this.
Don't tell him how to live his life.
And we covered it.
The effing CEO. He wants to ream
muted.
Yeah. Silvergate Bank going down could be pretty bad for the industry. We covered that a lot as a potential, when everything else was going down, that could be if on-ramps and off-ramps get cut off. And we know there's this Operation Choke Point going on right now in Washington. If you guys don't know about that, you can read up on that on your own time. There is a concerted...
Sounds like my Saturday night.
There is a that was good, BJ. There is a concerted push on trying to restrict the on-ramps and off-ramps. They know they can't regulate decentralized protocols, but they can regulate banks and the way people get out of the traditional system into the new system. They can slow that flow down, and we're starting to see that with stablecoin regulation, with them looking into Paxos and Signature. This is what's interesting to me. They already looked into Signature Bank. Now they're looking into Silvergate Bank, and a lot of the, like what we're going to look at with Coinbase, they're jumping from Silvergate to Signature. So it's interesting thing to keep an eye on and learn more about. Real quick, we'll check on the markets. And also, if you guys have any questions or anything you want to talk about, it's a good day to engage with the chat. So let us know what you guys are interested in. But Bitcoin on a bit of a pullback, coming in at 23.3. It's, not too dramatic from yesterday. Ethereum, everything down kind of 1% ish, nothing crazy. Let's see what's going down a lot. Conflux, NEM, Convex, Finance, Rocket Pool, Immutable X. Trying to see if there's anything interesting on a major pullback. Not.
Where's Singularity fall to? 5%?
Where is it?
I think it's just a little down. I've been waiting for that one.
Down 5%, 51 cents. Still up 30% on the week. So. Okay. Tough to get that pullback, but we were talking this morning on the morning stream, DZ and I, with Gareth, who gave us some pretty good levels to keep an eye on. I tend to agree. He called it like a double door with two different major lines at the support at about the 18.2, 18.1 level. So a lot of us have talked about, will it potentially go below 20K? I think it will, and we could go all the way down to 18. I feel like that's pretty likely in the next couple months. We're trading in a pretty tight range right now. When you look out on the wire, almost everything seems to be leaning bearish at this point when it comes to news, when it comes to TA, when it comes to macro. Everybody's expecting more raises from the Fed. Maybe they continue beyond their original targets, that sort of stuff. Let me ask you guys. I know DZ and I were talking about it this morning, but Drew, what do you think? This was a good question that DZ asked me. what do you think we see first, 26K or 18K? And let us know in the chat too. Let us if you think
26 or 18. What do you think?
Yeah, let us know.
It's looking a little bit grim. And it lost that value area that it had barely made yesterday. So I think 18 would probably be more likely at this point. But I mean, you know, if the stock market bounces from where it's at and any inclinations of peace come, I mean, it could easily rip up to 26. But as it stands right now with the news, I think 18 is a reasonable kind of hope to have as far as re-entry.
Drew,
point.
do you have a Cardano wallet?
No, I have Cardano, but I was maybe giving it to BJ for his pool.
I was gonna bet you 10 Cardano. Just for fun.
I have Cardano. We could bet on it, but I mean,
Bet.
What is that? Coinbase or something?
it is, yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'll bet you 10 Cardano, 26 before 18.
You okay?
All right.
I'll make more money than I lose in that.
$3, baby.
I might take that bet too. I'm seeing 18 before 26.
Hell yeah.
I would say 18.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Oh wow, everybody wants to take that bet.
I hope it's 18.
DJ.
Yeah, exactly. So Hannah, you hope it's 18. Why?
Because I'm already feeling like a little bit of FOMO because I bought at 16, but I didn't buy very much. So now that it's above 20, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I would like to see it go down again.
Yeah, everybody who smash the likes or let us know in the chat if you wish you bought more when we were at the lows early in the year. That was another thing we talked about. I bought a tiny bit of Ethereum when it was under $1,000, not nearly as much as I wish I had at this point. I feel like I did pretty good on Bitcoin, getting it in the 17, 18 range. I didn't nail 16 and change, but 17 was close enough to the bottom for me. But Ethereum, not getting it at 900. I bought most of it, I think, in that 1200 range. Now it's like, man, I wish I could go for some a little bit lower prices to load up, but I'm happy if it goes up at this point, but I still think
That's what she said.
yeah, that's always what she says. I'm always happy. I still think we're going to stay in a really tight range most of this year. I do think there is a chance for a mid-year breakout, even though right now macro-wise it's not looking good. Drew mentioned, or somebody mentioned, peace talks should help things move along. We're not seeing a lot of that. We're actually seeing a lot of conversations pushing us in the other direction.
Yeah.
Which, man.
What, NATO is trying to get a new friend? So I'm not trying to actually say it, but yeah.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, they're, or just create more dissonance between the superpowers of the world, making people
So they're
decide.
trying to do the exact thing that one of the parties said, if you do this, They're like, okay, let's do that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, exactly.
Sick.
Obviously
really poke the bear.
We talked about I think we talked about it on this channel was it CEO of Vanguard basically talking about ESG score being pretty much meaningless when it comes to investing at this point. That there's a lot of like subtle kind of read between the lines things going on, and we'll get into that with some of this stuff happening today.
I mean, isn't ExxonMobil in the top 10 on the ESG companies?
I think it is. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Tesla's not in it at all.
Yeah. Let's take that with a... Well, I'm not sure they should be with all the lithium and everything else, but I think it's really funny when people push those narratives and you're like, look at the top 10 companies.
Yeah, they buy their way in. Yeah, it's all a scam, guys, just like everything else in life. If you haven't learned that yet, if you do enough research on anything, you start to believe like literally the entire world is a scam.
Like Buddha said, life is suffering and a scam.
Yeah. Is that what he said?
Verbatim.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Or if you have too much cheesecake, also applies.
Yeah.
Also a scam. Cheesecake also a scam.
The screen door comment, top tier, man.
Yeah, that was good.
I didn't see it. Let's see. So you guys are scamming me? WTF. Yes, this show is a scam. The basement is a
We're
scam.
scamming you for Jeff Bezos, though,
Yeah.
so it's okay. It's okay.
No. We're just having a good time here. We're trying to make enjoy life and identify the scams so we don't fall for them. And I would say thinking for yourself, researching for yourself, making your own decisions. Critical thinking is definitely a dying skill in today's industry, and you get a lot of critical thinkers here. I know a lot of you guys in the chat are critical thinkers.
You know the ultimate scam?
What's that?
Love.
Magic?
Love.
What'd you say?
Oh my!
Did you say love? No.
Sad.
Love is what it's all about.
Scam.
Scam. That's not a scam.
What is
All right.
life without love?
Exactly.
Scam.
It's all right, guys. BJ's dead inside. Don't listen to him. All right, Silvergate sinks almost 50% to an all-time low. Coinbase and Signature slide as well. Signature trading below $7. Plummeted after saying this was a pretty interesting statement. They had to come out and publicly say, we may be less than well capitalized.
Bullish.
That's a very nice way of saying like, we don't have enough money. We're running out. We're
Who
not
wrote
doing
this article? SBF?
Yeah, exactly. No, this was their actual. They actually submitted this in a filing to the SEC on Wednesday. The news sent the stock lower. Like, how's that? Let's see. How's that for a chart for you guys? That's a bad day on the market for sure if you're running that company. Silvergate shares, obviously down 48%. This was the big news. I mean, Coinbase has got to be one of their biggest customers. Said it's no longer accepting or initiating payments to or from the crypto-friendly bank. Silvergate told the Securities Exchange Commission it may be less than well capitalized. It said it's reevaluating its business. You don't want to hear that for sure if you're an investor. Obviously, shares plummeted after the close. Or is this all posturing? I mean, we do know in the wake of all the withdrawals that FTX did enable, I think it was $8 billion on one Sunday. All of that did come out of Silvergate, more or less. It caused them to have to liquidate a lot of their other holdings to make those withdrawals, which they did. They remained solvent. They did honor their commitments, but it obviously, I think it wiped out the last 10 years of their profits or something like that. Yeah. So obviously that's going to hammer a company. It may not end them. And it looks like, I think Gareth gave us some pretty good insights this morning talking about the type of deals certain big companies can make, basically saving or bailing out a bank and making a sweetheart deal where I didn't even realize Warren Buffett had, he was talking about when Warren Buffett bailed out Goldman Sachs. I didn't even realize that happened. He said he made billions and billions of dollars from it where they can basically get 10% premium on different profits. I mean, I think it was a good analogy you made, DZ, when you said it was kind of like a Mr. Wonderful type deal. So I want to add, obviously, we're not billionaires in this basement yet, but if you were somebody like, we know BlackRock has been investing a lot in Silvergate. We know Soros has been shorting it. We know there's Berkshire Hathaway, type people out there. If you were sitting on billions in cash right now and you were looking at a business like Silvergate, I'll come to you, DZ. Would you be looking to make some kind of creative type of an offer to save a business like this, or would you just try to, fund their competitors and short them into the ground?
That is an interesting point, or interesting question there. It's all going to come out to what is the tail end upside gains there. And so if you do believe in crypto, sure, yeah, there's going to be opportunity. You ruin one company and you short it, and you make like a nice little short-term game. I would be looking, again, I'm so long-term bullish for crypto. I'm obviously biased, and I'm letting you know I'm biased. But because I'm so long-term crypto, if Silvergate was to be the premier fiat on off ramp for the institutions servicing crypto, wouldn't be a fantastic thing to get yourself 22% of it, 11% of it, 18% of it. And so I would be just using this as an opportunity to just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And I had a little bit of dust. I bought a little bit of Silvergate today. Now, if it is some Machiavellian moves and they're playing, space 3D chess, I don't see the future moves. And it's so hard to determine because there's asymmetrical information. Caleb always talks about that. And because there's asymmetrical information, I'm not trying to predict or guess what they're doing. I'm just going in with a long-term outlook.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think that's a great take there. Somebody, a Bud Lightyear, where'd it go? I lost it. Where was it?
Twitch or the other one?
Twitch. Go up a little bit on Twitch. Or the basement, I guess we should say.
Where'd it go?
Not too far. Did I lose it? All right, it's gone. Basically, he was saying he would definitely short him to the ground.
Swoop in.
Yeah. Where is it? I don't see it. Oh yeah, there it is. 1,000%. I'd short the stock and then swoop in and buy it outright right before the halving. And it's interesting to think if this is another question, Drew. What do you think about these big traditional investment companies? Do you think they know the halving cycle at this point? Because it seems like they haven't really followed the 4-year cycle up until now. It's a very popularized theory. I would think they know it by now, but what do you think?
You would think they have to.
Yeah, I mean, they have to know it by now, but they might want to change it because now a bunch of regular, middle and lower class people also know it. So they have the potential to ride the same cycle and kind of escape the, positions that they're in financially. So I think that they're definitely knowledgeable of it. I think that they're going to try to manipulate it in the next coming one. I think that they're going to manipulate it through media and different scare tactics to basically, push people out that are in the middle class right before it follows its, same process. You can only stop it to a certain degree though, because Bitcoin is mathematically coded to have its rewards at that exact time within the block. So, I mean, there's no way to really change that in the overscope, but I think they're going to try to manipulate it to the best of their ability coming up. So
yeah, IB Mike King says 5 claps for BJ's joke. That was a pretty good one. They have to know it by now. That was good.
Oh my God.
Silvergate remains one of the most shorted stocks on Wall Street, according to New York Stock Exchange data. Market Watch, around 71% of the outstanding shares were sold short as of February 15th. Could be a short squeeze opportunity for some people.
Reddit, where you at?
Yeah, where's Wall Street Bets? Let's wreck the big dogs if we can. Obviously, it affected Coinbase. It's interesting to see the stock market is affected. 8% down for coin, only 1% down for Bitcoin. So we're seeing the traditional markets getting affected a lot more than crypto markets, which is interesting to me. It's something Don Alt shared. BTC being dragged down by the traditional markets, but is refusing to make new lows while the S&P is bleeding out. The moment the traditional markets bounce, I'm expecting a massive outperforming green candle for Bitcoin, and I tend to agree. If we can continue to hold, even if we get dragged all the way down to that 18K level, once we start to get things going back up again, I think Bitcoin is that could be, again, that mid-year breakout we keep talking about. It's not going to be easy. We could bang our heads against 25 a couple more times before we flip it. Once we do, though, Frank's shown this volume profile multiple times. There's a lot of space up to 28. Once we clear 28, you can run all the way up into the mid-30s or even beyond. So let me ask you guys that. I mean, how much? I know I've pushed that theory a lot here. It's very consistent with what I saw in 2019. How likely do you think we're going to, for a breakout like that, DZ, do you think we can get into the mid-30s this year? Do you think we'll go into the 40s, or do you think 28 is cap for most of this year?
That is a real good question. It is so early right now, and it's February, and so I wouldn't want to say 28 is the cap. I could see something similar happening to 21, where we get a nice little rally in the springtime or early spring, and then it's just going to be very boring. Sell in May, walk away. There's a reason smart traders say that. A lot of the big money, the big volume makers, the big market makers, they don't participate that much in the summer. I don't know if it's because maybe they live in Dubai, maybe they live in New York City, they're just, off vacationing. When you see your favorite crypto YouTubers all have really dark tans and they're, streaming from a hotel room that's like super nice or some, exotic background, everything looks like Arcane Bear's backyard. That's when you're realizing like, oh, they're all on vacation right now. They're not like actively looking at these charts. And so I could see a nice blast past 28, but it would be after the summer if it does happen, I think.
Yeah, okay. So you do think we'll get into the do you think we could go as high as 40, or you think, we're going to, 40, even if we get into the mid 30s, I think 40 is going to be a massive, massive resistance in my opinion, because that was the floor for a while. And then once we broke 40, that's when the free fall really started on the way down. Generally speaking,
that's a good point, TJ. When does Bitcoin really hang out in the 30s? It doesn't. It's like 20s and 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, scary. It's a scary level. It's not much volume there. What does Frank call those things? The volume indicator?
Volume profiles.
Volume profile. Yeah, there's not much. Bitcoin doesn't like the 30s, just like me.
Oh.
I love my 30s.
Yeah, 30s.
I had a great time.
Still got a little time left, right?
Like a year and a half.
Like a week.
That's
not much.
What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, I do think we could tap 40. Kind of what I'm thinking is that basically we're going to have pretty positive and violent upward price action right at the end of the year. But I expect that big jump to be met with a really strong pullback by some macro event. And that's just me looking at what's going on and expecting someone to get hit pretty hard. So I think that 40 is reasonable to look for, but more likely it's going to land somewhere in that mid 30 range, or maybe even just right at 30 and pull back down. 40 is not out of the question though, because they're going to have to turn on QE pretty hard to catch up with China, because they got a head start right now. So
yeah, I tend to agree, and it's all bearish stuff all around, and I think a lot of this stuff is interconnected. Obviously, we know Silvergate stock getting hammered, Coinbase as well, but here's really the list here: a host of crypto firms, including Coinbase, Paxo, and Galaxy, jump ship from Silvergate Bank. As you guys know, I believe Kraken is another one that's moving away from Silvergate. We covered it early in the year. Silvergate was the go-to bank for almost every crypto exchange. Gemini was another one they banked. Almost any big exchange you knew was using Silvergate for their traditional banking rails, getting dollars to crypto, you know, and vice versa. They were custodying the crypto, but they were using Silvergate for a lot of their dollar or fiat holdings and transactions. So group of firms ending their relationship with the crypto-focused bank SI after delayed its 10K filing, which again, that's what Gareth alluded to this morning. This is a filing that they should be on top of, and they should get it in. And the fact that they're delaying it either means A, it's going to be bad and it's going to be ugly, and they're trying to hold on to that as long as possible, or B, they're not doing their job because, like he said, their accountants are supposed to be getting this done. And they said there's concerns about its ability to continue as a going concern, meaning like we might be going out of business, which is going to be terrifying if you're an investor. Also, you don't want to deal with that if you're Coinbase, if you're Gemini, if you're Kraken. You don't want anything associated with potential insolvency with your brand at this point, considering everything that happened from FTX. So this is, and again, this is still part of the, you kept hearing about it when FTX was going down, the contagion, all of these different things going on, and this is still part of that. Because of FTX was using Silvergate, and they may have been using them for a little bit of fraudulent purposes, it incited an investigation from the SEC, so now they're dealing with legal fees and all sorts of stuff there, so... And it's all linked together, in my opinion. Coin no longer using Silvergate, you know, and everybody's starting to switch to Signature Bank, which is interesting because Signature Bank also was investigated by the SEC. Also tends to bank a lot of, I don't know, a lot of different people that traditional banks won't bank, I guess is all I'll say there. Stablecoin issuer Paxos also being investigated by the SEC. Jump ship from Silvergate, discontinuing transfers wires to its account. So these are like their, you know, Circle, Galaxy Digital, Mike Novogratz, crypto-focused financial services firm, also stopped using them. So these are like all their biggest clients. Imagine running a business. You're already in hot water. You're already low on funds and low on capital. And then boom, all of your biggest customers just pull their business all at once. Like there's blood in the water and people are scared. People are getting out. It feels pretty bearish. But interestingly, and we're going to cover this again towards the end, we got David Marcus coming up with another official crypto custodian, legally licensed bank. If you guys don't know who David Marcus is, we'll cover that a little bit in the towards the end of the show. He's got a very long history of payments, both in the digital and traditional world. Used to work for PayPal, used to work for Facebook, etc. So knows payments. Let's see. Silvergate announced Wednesday that it will delay its filing its annual report, sending its stock price plunging another 10% in after-hours trading. There you go. Silvergate, not feeling good right now. This is another interesting thing that's like everybody. Let me get a boo Gary Gensler in the chat. Boo. That was amazing. I love you guys.
I mean, there was chat, not us. But
boo earns.
Yeah,
is
exactly
what I was saying.
No, yeah, this guy, Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, boycotts the SEC Speaks conference. For 50 years, this conference has been an annual tradition where the SEC chairman and the division heads explain the SEC's objectives, which again, I think a lot of people would like to know what their objectives are. These SEC officials would typically answer a few tough questions from those of us in the securities bar who represent the clients before the SEC. That's what accountable government looked like or used to look like. And now we're seeing it's
not the banking broad, literally being like, here are the questions. Are you cool with these questions? Can you answer these questions? Cool. You don't like these. Let's redact them, redo them, and then like literally just perfectly form the entire narrative of when that questioning happens.
100%.
But it's an investigation.
Right. Yeah. This is representing the people. Sure. We're not representing the banks here at all. It's, you know, and we covered it today on the stream. Now that he's not going, they've just basically said, oh, we're just not going to do it. We're just going to cancel it because, why would we hold something called SEC Speaks and the SEC doesn't show up? So again, this is interesting timing for all of this stuff, interesting motivations. We've also got this coming around. Fabian, we've covered some of his things here. Another good follow on Twitter I would recommend, _Fabian HD. He's covers a lot of deep alts and DeFi type projects. Oh, this wasn't the one I was thinking, the thread I was thinking, but this is also interesting. We've got Mt. Gox finally starting to make repayments. And again, this is another bearish narrative. I'm glad we're getting this out of the way in the bear market because everybody's been saying I can't tell you how long I've been hearing about, like, oh, once Mt. Gox releases all that Bitcoin, the market's going to, price is going to dump to 0 or Bitcoin's going down to 3K, 4K. And I'm sure there's people out there saying it right now. I don't think it's going to have that dramatic of an impact, but it is interesting to see that there are starting to do it. It's 142,000 BTC up for grabs. That's why people are saying if it all gets market sold immediately, obviously that will affect the markets. That's a lot of the circulating supply right now.
There's two ways for this to go, and it's like either, just for the extremes. If you're going to have all this Bitcoin hit a market, you can do the bottom of the bear, or you can do the top of the bull, and they're going to have two different outsized impacts. So you can make an argument for it is best to be released during the bear market. Because, again, I'm not saying this is, it's just I'm saying, it's complexity here. If you do sell or you drop them at the bottom of the bear, a lower percentage will get sold. Absolutely. If you sell them at the top, a higher percentage will get sold. So you're going to see, it is the worst time to impact the price, but it will be the least impactful time to drop it too. So
100%. Because you're gonna have a lot of, like, if it goes back below 20K, you get a lot of buyers at that price. If you're talking about it dropping from 69 to 50, you're not gonna have nearly as much buying pressure at 50K as you're gonna have at 18K, for example. And that's basically what Fabian is saying here. He said this is unlikely to result in any sudden market dump like many people have always incorrectly feared. More so just some added sell pressure spread out over the next few months until September. And I tend to agree with that 100%. I think, and I'll be glad when we get this narrative behind us, much like the Tether FUD, much like China banning crypto or mining and all these different things. Like, we've seen the fear of it is generally much more dramatic than the actual result of it. So glad to see it happening. Many of these people, and again, the other thing that's interesting is the people that are going to be getting this Bitcoin, generally speaking, if they've been keeping up and they're involved with Bitcoin still, and they were involved in Mt. Gox collapse back in 2012,
right?
They're going to be Bitcoin whales. They're not going to be your typical retail trader. These are people that are very invested in this, people that really care about the future, people that understand what's going on. It's not somebody that bought Bitcoin and got rugged and lost, a couple years later, like, oh, I need my profits back so I can pay my taxes or whatever.
They might have got rugged on that eighth of mushrooms.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, they'd be happy to take that Bitcoin and sit on it, in my opinion. So, what are you gonna say, BJ?
I said like Iran.
Oh gosh, yeah. Jesus. Oh, Iran, love Iran.
He's like, look what I paid 180 Bitcoin for back in the day.
Yeah, fake ID. Right. He was one of those. This is what I was talking about. Another great account to follow. Small Cap Scientist, covers tons of DeFi. We've used some of their threads on the channel before. And I agree with this right now because of, like, this is a narrative. It's all intertwined. You can see kind of breadcrumbs here. The signature stuff, the Silvergate stuff, Paxos, BUSD being delisted. All of this stuff is definitely part of, again, what I mentioned was Operation Choke Point. It's known. It's been passed around policymakers' offices, and it's a write-up. Just go read up on it. But this is good advice right now. Be overly cautious of the DeFi markets for the next few weeks. In September, the White House assigned the Treasury to complete risk assessment on DeFi and NFTs. The report on DeFi was due yesterday. This was posted yesterday, so it was due 2 days ago. It hasn't dropped yet, but it's coming. And this is just a highlight of that. I know, Drew, you and I were talking about early in the year. Biden had put out a bunch of work for a lot of people to kind of assess digital assets, create framework for this different stuff, do reporting on all this different stuff. So we're starting to see all of that roll in now.
So is this them buying time to stack their bags?
This is them trying to get their heads around what's going on, really, in a lot of different ways. Obviously you don't expect many of the 60, 70, 80-year-old policymakers to be up on digital assets, but they can.
But the enemy you should be most worried about is the one who plays dumb. So
yeah, like the banking broad, Elizabeth Warren. And we're gonna cover that in just a second. I think it's down here. So, the United States will continue to monitor the development of digital assets sector and its associated illicit financing risks. Treasury will complete an illicit finance risk assessment on decentralized finance by the end of February 2023, an assessment on non-fungible tokens, that's NFTs, by July 2023. So they're looking at this, and they're definitely coming at it from a negative viewpoint of this is used for illicit activities. And I think there's more in here. Yeah. Janet Yellen at the G20 made headlines with the comments on February 25th. Good news, she stated that there's no places to ban cryptocurrencies, which, at least they're aware of that. Bad news is the report will most likely suggest strong regulations. And we know that across the board. We're seeing See, I don't know what that was, but I got to bite it.
Yeah, you got it.
They'll put anything in that mouth.
Not anything. Jesus.
One Bitcoin's one Bitcoin.
Oh, thank God.
No, only for Decker. It'll take a lot more than one Bitcoin.
Both of them.
Oh no.
So wait, do we have an issue on?
No, people are just
they're just whining.
Liars.
All right, so Janet, here we go. So at the G20, this is some of her, speaking to Reuters, Yellen said it's critical to put in place strong regulatory framework. She's been screaming this for a while. She also noted the United States is not suggesting an outright banning of crypto activities. Again, this is good news. There's been a very strong push for regulation. If regulation fails, if you're slow to do it, then we should not take off the table banning those assets because they may create financial instability. There's a lot of fear coming out of the banks right now, and they're trying to slow this down. They know regulation keeps them in control. Again, they've mentioned federally approved custodians. We know Coinbase is set up to be that. But if we can start shutting, if we start to see Signature and Silvergate banks going down, guess who's going to rise up to fill that void of banking and custodying for digital assets? That's going to be some of your traditional players, the trusted ones, probably JP Morgan, probably Goldman Sachs. We know BNY Mellon, one of the oldest banks ever, has been involved in this stuff for a very long time. Things to keep an eye on. This is all interconnected. This, like BJ said, the ones that play dumb are the ones you need to be afraid of. This is not an accident.
I meant to say feign ignorance. It sounds way better.
Yeah. You like the bigger, smarter words for sure. The U.S., Yellen was working with other countries on digital asset regulation, just like she works with all the banks. India's Ministry of Finance has been in these discussions and takes a more firm stance, stating crypto assets are akin to a Ponzi scheme, not ideal. It's very interesting the way India tends to regulate. They're kind of all over the place when it comes to, they get some things right. I know they kicked Bill Gates and a lot of his foundation's workings out of there because they were noticing like, oh, hey, this is like, now our women can't have babies anymore. This is probably not helping the way you tell us.
Oh, you know what? On that note, guess what? They are going to pass China very quickly with the population. China, I don't know if you saw their data. They're like 0.9 or something, or 1.3. You need to be at 2.1. So India crushing it with the population.
Yep.
Great job kicking out the gates, people. Great job.
Yeah. And also Japan going in the negative direction. I saw Elon Musk tweeting about that yesterday. Basically way more deaths than births. And then somebody commented like, hey, it's weird. We were having an overpopulation problem. And then all of a sudden this crazy thing comes out. Everybody's forced to take all these crazy things. And then, population under control. Weird. Funny how that works. Going back in the right direction again. So
Dead.
I don't know if we need to read the word for word. We're working with other governments. India's central bank wants to ban digital assets on the basis that they are akin to a Ponzi scheme. So it's these G20 meetings is where a lot of this stuff happens. A lot of it happens behind closed doors. We don't really know the details. The above Yellen comments also come during the same week that Gary Gensler called everything other than Bitcoin a security. Again, that got a lot of headlines, a lot of coverage in the past. His comments didn't necessarily pin ETH as a security, so the flip feels oddly timed. Here we go. There's the conclusion. What's the chat saying? Something funny?
All right, I'll address it.
Right,
I'll address it.
Yeah,
All right, I shave in the shower. And
wait, you got to read the question. So
all right. Yeah, you're right. Where was that?
Ask DZ why his mustache is so top heavy. Thin that thing out, Maine, looking like Charlie Chapman.
All right, it's a little thick. All right, I'm part Hispanic, so I got the Mexistache.
Yeah.
All right, Mexistache is a thing. If you ever see a cholo,
Yes.
it's thick, man. It's thick. You see the homies, but then it's like nothing right here. Look how thin that hair is there. Right?
Yeah.
This, man, it's like coarse. It's like a SOS pad, right? And so I've switched showers in my home. I've jumped from one shower to the one connected to the master bedroom.
Hey.
And so I haven't dragged all my shaving stuff. And so I haven't trimmed the beard in like 8 days. So nothing has been trimmed lately. And I'm going into Wolfman mode.
I like it.
All your stuff is in one bathroom and you don't want to move it?
Well, it's like you got the guards and everything, Well, I moved the cleaning stuff, and then I did move the shaving stuff.
Look, Chemistry Bro says it's beautiful. I'm on his side. Somebody did make a comment that cracked me up the other day too. Like if you throw on a cowboy hat and a Western look, you look like an old school lawman. Like a sheriff
Texas
of the
Ranger.
Western town. Yeah, Texas Ranger. I like it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Whenever DZ talks, it's going to just be this now.
Oh gosh, that's a bit much.
That is good though.
That's too much. That dang camera, man. BJ's too much fun with it. Yeah, you got to start doing the whole string pulling thing. Or whatever. That's pretty good.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, this is the content you get in the basement right there. Look at that. Look at that. That's control right there. What can those lips not do? That's the question.
Hello.
No comment.
Oh my god.
All right, back to Bitcoin.
Earth King, $20 is $20.
You don't even need a whole Bitcoin. In the past, his comments didn't pin ETH. So yeah, here we go. New York Mag. Everything is a security except Bitcoin. Every company out there is in violation. Crypto is pointless, but blockchain is kind of neat. I mean, like these statements are very broad and overreaching. The ETH merge also brought in a ton of FUD around ETH becoming a security due to the fact that users can't unlock before the Shanghai upgrade. And this was an interesting take that I didn't really think about. We covered the Shanghai upgrade a lot in detail yesterday. It seems like the Ethereum Foundation prioritized this unlock upgrade for ETH for that reason. My thoughts, I think it's extremely unlikely that the Treasury report on DeFi ends up being bullish due to the recent comments. I have long positions, but I'm overly cautious for the next few weeks. Please do your own research. The goal of this is just to raise awareness, which is exactly what we're trying to do here too. So the reason I wanted to bring this up, obviously on this channel, we cover a lot of low cap things. A lot of them are attached to DeFi, a lot of different, that really is what most of the ecosystem is on a lot of these other smart contract platforms, whether you're talking Cardano, whether you're talking Cosmos, whether you're talking, Elrond or Avalanche or, tons of them. I mean, like if you look at even CoinMarketCap, we had Convex Finance was up there. We have all kinds of DeFi type plays. Yeah, there it was.
What is threshold?
I don't know what threshold
I gotta
is.
find out what it is, why it's moving.
Yeah, here we go. We got Conflux pulling back, Convex pulling back, Frax pulling back, Rocket pulling back, DYDX, let's see, 1 inch, GMX, tons.
E-Gold, Multiverse.
All of that stuff. And so that's, again, something to keep an eye on as we're moving forward here. When these reports come out, it's not, like he said, the odds that it's a bullish report is under 5% in my opinion. I think the market will probably overreact. So you want to probably hold some powder on the side. Let
Crimson.
Where is he saying?
It's
Crimson.
a stupid magic mechanic. Threshold.
Oh, that's funny.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, these magic people jokes. I met somebody that was into magic today, and I was talking about DZ and Beach. I was like, hey, we got some magic people in our office. So yeah, that community is
if we had a child, would it be named BZ?
All right, so here's the thing. Let me just quick brief summation. BJ, let me know if you agree, disagree.
Oh god.
If you go to a LGS, a local game store, 95% are going to look a certain way. But if you look online, if you look at the influencers, you look at the corporation, they make up the 5%. And so the corporation doesn't speak to their core audience, I think. What do you say?
I literally have been told at a Magic tournament I'm too attractive to be a Magic player. Which is a lie.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a stereotype of like
BJ's
neckbeards.
not that attractive,
It's
guys.
basement
Exactly.
dwellers.
I'm hideous.
Yeah, it's a stereotype of basement dwellers, but the corporation would want a bunch of people that are like, have green hair and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You're beautiful, BJ. We love you.
What am I, a mirror?
Hey, I'll take it.
Oh my god.
All right. So interesting news, politics stuff coming out when it comes to banking, crypto, and then here we go. All of a sudden, welcome to the first bank on Lightning Network.
Got him.
This is David Marcus, which if you guys don't know, CEO, co-founder of Lightspark and Bitcoin-focused company, formerly ran payments messaging at Messenger, which is Facebook Messenger, Meta, and PayPal. So this guy's been around online payments for quite some time. He understands digital assets. He understands digital payments. He also understands being the bridge between traditional fiat rails and digital money, because again, that PayPal was really debatable if you want to say, X or whatever, but basically PayPal was the first person to kind of come up and try to solve for this online money problem. Then they ran the same thing. They got stonewalled by a lot of regulators from doing it the way they wanted to. They had to keep running people through the dollar. It turned into a centralized custodian, tons of fees. It works great for a while, but we all know that they kind of force you to do different things. They were in the news that not too long ago for updating their terms of service to basically say, if we don't like who you're sending money to, we'll just take your money.
Yeah.
And that was after his time. Obviously, he left PayPal to go to Messenger. This was back when they were starting to do a lot of the stuff with Diem, and they were trying to get into the digital asset world. Again, they had a great plan for rolling out a great stablecoin backed by a basket of stable assets all around the world. Literally, Congress and lawmakers called them into court and said, no, you absolutely cannot do this. It is too much of a threat to the US dollar. We're killing you right here, right now.
That's where Zuckerberg started blinking with his second set of eyelids.
He started
the truth came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Random derailment, because that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Good.
So Brandon Harris asks, I sent my AGIX to my Cardano wallet on Ledger months ago, not currently supported on Ledger Live. To my understanding, I didn't lose the coins, but I have to wait for Ledger Live to
That
add
typically
support.
is how it happens. I've heard stories of, people sending something to Coinbase, the coin is added 18 months later, and then it pops up. I don't know if Ledger is going to be as successful, but I've heard with the better companies, that is typically what you can expect. But, again, just verify and make sure you're following it and getting the Discord, customer service, all that support.
Yep.
So there you go. So we're seeing Silvergate under attack. Now we've got David Marcus's, how would you say that?
Zappo
Bank,
Zappo.
a leading Bitcoin custodian and licensed private bank. So not only do they custody Bitcoin, but they're also a private bank. I think it says it right here. They're headquartered in Gibraltar. Your stupid policies. Private banking meets crypto. So could this potentially be, very interesting timing. This launched yesterday, and then we're seeing all this news with Silvergate coming out today. Could this be a chosen winner to come in and fill that void if Signature continues to come under fire from kind of one of the legacy players? Over the last few months, as one of our closed beta partners, we've been partnering with, what did we say? Zappo Bank team. And we're delighted to see the integration go live. Zappo Bank is the first bank in the world to integrate with the Lightning Network, and their customers will now be able to pay for small purchases and benefit from fast, secure, and low-cost Bitcoin transactions. So pretty interesting. The team at Lightspark has been hard at work building an enterprise-grade entry point to Lightning. Enterprise-grade. This is not just for retail. This is for places like Coinbase, places like Kraken, places like Paxos. Now, it'll be interesting. Right now, it's mostly talking about Bitcoin and Litecoin. Will they? And again, once we get some regulatory framework, wouldn't surprise me very quickly to see them start branching out into other digital assets, even once they have clarity on what's a security and what's not. So,
can I ask your opinion now, or maybe someone can back this up? Does BlackRock own part of Circle? They're an investor in Circle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So don't you think that Silvergate knew, or Circle knew that they're going to have to stop working with Silvergate, ahead of time before any public announcements? Of course, they didn't just get the news from SEC and just immediately tweet it. There's some sort of window of time. I don't know if this is weeks. I don't know if it's hours. I assume it's probably days. So they knew they were no longer going to use Silvergate. They knew Circle was BlackRock. BlackRock knew Circle was no longer going to use Silvergate. Mm-hmm. So why is BlackRock then investing more money in Silvergate when they know this news is going to depress the price?
That's a great question. That's what we were talking about before. And even Gareth kind of alluded to, he said they're definitely on the phone with the CEO of Silvergate, and they're having these conversations. They know this report is going to get delayed. And are they still continually buying? That is the question. And I don't know, and we might find out in a quarterly filing very soon that they've dumped all their shares and we don't even know it.
Yeah. It's like they incurred a $3 million loss right at the end of the year, you know, to harvest something. And then,
yeah, exactly. But
meanwhile, all that money funneled into this new bank.
It's a very interesting, question. When we've got all of the stock market shorting it, one of the biggest hedge funds in the world, buying it and pumping it up. And his point, are they trying to acquire enough shares to where it's very easy for them to just take it over outright, and maybe they take it private? I don't know. Is that something they would even allow? I'm not sure. So,
and, who was the company we were talking about earlier that was postponing their filings?
Silvergate. Yeah. That's what we're saying. Postponing what they were supposed to file as far as what their books look like and what their assets are and all that.
I think DZ's completely on.
Completely on?
Yeah.
Drugs?
Yeah. Well. You got any?
Yeah, it'll be really, to be on the fly. To be a fly on the wall at BlackRock Casino. Doggy says, yeah, I tend to agree.
I think they would smack you.
Drew,
gas you.
I have a mission for you.
What?
So you pretend to be a maintenance guy. You go there and you just put microphones all over those offices.
Oh yeah, that's great. Let's advertise that before it happens. Thank you.
Well, I'm like the movies. You do these ridiculous scripts of real things, and then people don't think it would happen.
Oh my God, no! It's the cat's out of the bag. We can't.
Chemistry Bro says larger financial institutions should have to report more often, in my opinion, and should have to report on short positions because they don't right now. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you get a lot done in 90 days.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do a lot right at the end of the quarter, knowing you're gonna there's a lot of gamesmanship that goes involved in all of this stuff. Also, real quick, just want to say we have 415 people watching live right now on YouTube. We know you guys know the like goal is 420. If we've got 100 likes right now, if every single one of you stops what you're doing and hits that like button, we can get 420 likes for the day. That always is a good stream if we can do that. Get some of this information out there, help people hopefully not get wrecked in the near term. So stop what you're doing right now. If you're watching on a smart TV, bottom right hand corner, more actions, more options. Click that like button, yeah. We'd appreciate that. We want 420 likes for just random, no real reason. It's just a random number we like in the basement. So
I might get wrecked on the Silvergate crash because I bought.
You guys both bought Silvergate.
Yeah,
today,
I
right?
bought some Silvergate this morning.
Small amount for me, but yeah, I bought a little bit more.
Yeah, I found really old, well, not really old, but pretty old ETH on my Robinhood that I forgot about. So
I treat stocks like I treat crypto. I'm not super big into Bitcoin, but I'm super big into Ethereum and Cardano. So to me, those are like top 10 coins. So my position in Tesla, my position in Google is a lot higher than my position in Silvergate. So you got to be real careful. Don't look at what Reddit did 3 years ago and just say, oh yeah, I can just put everything into this small cap. You want to be real careful. And if you are going to be allocated heavily, just put it in, very, very safe institutions like a Google, an Apple, a Microsoft. I think all those are pretty good.
Yeah.
No, great. That's absolutely great advice there. And same thing. You want to be buying things on the way down, not when they're at all-time highs. So if you're treating it like crypto, if you're treating this like a low-cap crypto project, hey, it's getting crushed. It's down 70% or something like that from its all-time high. Yeah, I'll throw a little bit of money in there, and hey, maybe I catch that pump on the way back up. You never know. Also, IB Mike King, I really appreciate that. He said he's watching on Twitch. He just jumped over to YouTube to hit that like button. That's a true basement dweller. We really appreciate that commitment. We do stream to both places because we don't want to leave our Twitch audience, even though Twitch told us they don't really care about us. So it is what it is.
We care about y'all.
We care about you guys. That's what I told them. We will continue to stream to the basement dwellers, the Twitch audience, because we don't want to leave you guys hanging. Even though Twitch was like, well, I'm not going to tell you what they actually said. But.
I have a question from Raz Mataz.
Okay.
He said, Cardano has had a lot of infighting over contingent staking in the last few weeks, and overall, the Cardano sentiment feels very bearish, even though TVL is at an
all-time high.
All-time high.
So
what are your thoughts on Cardano for the next run?
So this is people grabbing onto a narrative. There's not that much infighting. It was something they discussed. They were stating that to stay ahead of regulatory changes that they could do this contingent staking, but it's more than likely not happening. It was basically like, could we evolve? Yes. Versus other chains that wouldn't be able to. So,
and then people said, Charles, you're an idiot. And then in typical Charles fashion, he digs down his heels and he argues his point even more eloquently. Yeah. And so it appeared that he's like, man, he just won't shut up about how awesome contingent staking is. And it was like, BJ's point there. He's just saying, this is a possibility, and that's all. As far as now, what are your thoughts on the price action, BJ? I mean, he's kind of wondering. I think he wants to know what's that next bull run price target.
He said not just price.
I mean, did he say not just price?
Just price.
I'm still going to stay conservative at a 10x to $4, and I think that's very conservative personally.
That's real conservative.
Yeah, I do too.
That's a 33% gain over the previous bull run.
Yeah. Like I'm being uber conservative for fun. Where I really think maybe $7. We could always do the coin perspective and just play with the numbers. God, I love that website.
I like 7. I like 7. I think 10 is going to be tough. I think 9 is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Somebody said they just saw their Cardano rewards drop on Exodus. Is this normal? Yeah, they are down to 3.27%. That is.
So there's a thing a lot of people don't know about. So Bitcoin does a halvening, but it happens at a specific block. So it really only happens once a year. Cardano also does a halvening over 4 years, but it is gradual across that. So there's a few charts. I think it used to be 5%. Then you're going to get down through the 4s, and I believe we're in the 3s now. Also, the block sizes are getting smaller. So even a few weeks ago, they were above 600. They're around 582 per block right now. That can be affected by the amount of volume that's happening on the network and everything else. But do keep that in mind that staking rewards are going to go down.
And because it happens over each epoch, right? Which is every 5 days, but it's like a tiny amount.
Yes. Very small amount.
At least looks like it says 0.22% right here of the remaining balance per epoch, approximately every 5 days until all tokens have been released. of the token emission. 20% will go to the treasury, and the remaining 80% will be allocated to the stake pool operator. So let's look at how much.
And if you're not staking your ADA, you're messing up with your life. You have two sweet options. You got the main one here, which is B pool, or you've got the little guys, which is NES pool. But you should be staking your ADA. There's no reason not to be, especially if you have full custody of it. And like high school, you can pull out at any time.
Hey. So you also, if you're looking at the supply, again, max supply always matters. Circulating supply always matters. You've got the circulating supply right here at 34. Is that trillion? Billion?
Billion.
Billion.
A lot of zeros. 34 billion, but that's 77% of the total supply. So it's going to cap out at 45 billion. As he was mentioning, you know, less and less is getting emitted over time.
And also about 70% of Cardano is staked. So that's another thing that is very relevant when you're looking at overall supply. How much of it is moving? What is DZ like?
The basement. I'm Web3's question. Man, that is a loaded question, man. That is a loaded one.
Wait, what?
I'm Web3 in the basement.
Yeah.
What's Hex?
Oh, gosh.
I keep seeing TikToks about Hex.
I don't like to talk about Hex. I'll just be honest.
It's an inflationary DeFi play that, you know, tries to incentivize people to lock up for large periods of time.
Yeah. It's the reason the Indian finance minister calls all cryptos a Ponzi. I'll say that. You know, it's because it looks like, acts like, walks like, smells like a Ponzi.
Yeah.
That's what I think about it.
Yeah.
Just to say it nicely.
I mean, they have a really adamant community. That's one positive.
Yeah.
Very
strong community.
Very strong. Hard.
How many of them are real? That's the question.
Yeah.
Are any of us real?
It's a controversial.
What, the holographic universe? That is kind of controversial, isn't it?
I'll just
the
say
SEC is definitely looking very hard into Hex right now too. They're looking. When we got subpoenaed just for talking to Richard Hart, and we had to answer literally a SEC subpoena just for our communications with Richard Hart. So,
I did not know that.
yeah,
I didn't know that either. Dang it, I hosted a show with him.
I know.
I saw him in the office.
Yeah. So
Wow, we're getting the alpha here.
I've-
All
All right.
everyone. We're like,
He ordered the apps.
I'll just say I met both Richard and Charlie, and I choose Charlie over.
great way to say it. Charles Hoskinson he's referring to there.
Yes.
I would, yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't meet Charles. I just have been in the same room with him a few times. Yeah. So I guess I don't have a strong opinion.
I got much better vibes from Charles Hoskinson.
Charles. I mean, both. I'll say this: both very intellectual. Richard Hart, very high IQ, great debater.
Yeah.
Dude, Richard
Master
Hart's
debater, as you
a
would say.
He's a
phenom,
master
man.
debater.
He's a genius.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he
would
really
say
is
that.
a sharp guy.
Yeah.
He really is.
I don't. But.
Chuck.
Yeah, we'll move on from that. All right, we're going to go back to some of our discussion we were having yesterday. U.S. regulators reject Elon Musk's bid to test brain chips in humans, citing safety risks. So, Hannah, I wanted to ask you this. We started on this discussion yesterday on microchip capability. You know, like if you think about the smartphone in today's society, you pretty much have to have one to operate, work in a job, be effective, generally speaking, especially in younger tech companies, anything relatively closely related to tech. I was asking Decker about this yesterday because, you know, for a lot of us, you know, it's going to take a lot of time before we see this becoming normal. But I tend to believe and agree that at some point in time, maybe 20 years out, maybe longer, you will need a microchip type capability in order to compete competitively in the marketplace, because it will start to hit a critical mass point where if you don't have it, you're less capable than your peers.
Yeah.
Would you ever get a microchip or anything, any kind of implant that would help you use your mind to interact with the cloud in any kind of way?
Immediately, if I suffered from
was asking
debilitating, oh sorry,
No.
I was pulling up percentage of adults that have seizures. If I had debilitating seizures, I would immediately do it, and I think anybody else would, because these people can't drive a car. You know, they have very tough lives. They might fall, break their head open, and they might die on their kitchen floor getting eaten by their cat.
Yeah.
And so these type of people, it's very, very important for them, and I think it's a it's a
subdural
wonderful thing he's
hematomas
doing
aren't that
for people with disabilities.
No, that actually it's funny you mentioned that's kind of the same thing Decker said yesterday. If it's using to treat something, maybe.
Maybe.
I want to hear if you're assuming you're healthy and this is just to enhance your capabilities as a human. Yes or no, Hannah?
Okay, so yeah.
And why?
I was gonna say for sure if there's something that needs to be fixed or solved, yes. If you were doing it just to enhance your life, yes. I mean, in my personal opinion,
Sure.
Eventually, yeah. Once other people have gotten it, it's been tested, it's being sold as a product. I don't see a reason not to, because you're going to be guaranteed like whatever you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
In that down the line, in that scenario, I used to think about this too, about like AI and robots. Think about like you're not going to be able to compete if you don't after a certain point of time. Yeah. And especially think about like, I mean, this is out there, but think about like reproducing. Like you're only going to qualify for a mate if you have the competitive qualities.
Relax.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm not. All right, listen. I was like, I'm trying to put this into words that make sense, but I was thinking about how eventually people are going to have microchips. Like the majority of the population might have them, and then if you don't have it, you're going to be lacking these qualities that people need to succeed in life. And
absolutely,
yeah, I think for sure I would consider it.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't know where. Hopefully, I don't have to cross this ship. Let us know in the chat if you guys would or wouldn't. I mean, Chemistry Bro said it very well. A lot of people lack the ability to communicate effectively. That's one of the first things I think. If we can immediately all translate any words into any language, you know, there's no language barrier anywhere anymore. And it's going to happen in steps and iterations. We're not far away right now. Everybody's got, not everybody, but tons of, especially the younger generation, walk around with ear pods in their ear all the time. Why put all the energy into learning a new language when you can just run Google Translate and you have earpods? So what DZ can speak to me in Chinese and I hear it in English, and then I speak in English and he hears it in Chinese. Like that's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and time and how it's going to impact you in your life. I personally don't think I would ever want to have a microchip, and I hope I never get to the point where
sorry.
No, I mean, hopefully I never need it is my point.
Now here's a legitimate question, and I'm not just trying to like sound smart here. But when you learn things and evolve and adapt, there's a certain level of triggering of neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. So when you put this chip in your brain, is that going to literally...
Yeah, will it retard that?
Yeah, I feel like
that's a good question.
Will.
Yeah, well, it probably depends on what level, what iteration. What do you got?
I just saw a comment. Imagine a baby getting chipped at birth and it's immediately fully developed and getting a job as soon as it can walk. I've thought about that, like the way that we get vaccines and other medical treatments as children. Like we don't decide if we want that or not. Our parents do, the doctors do. Like that could definitely be a possibility.
Look, Hannah, some of these cobalt mines and diamond mines have very small tunnels, okay? Yeah. And so you got to do what you got to do. I think what's really going to happen, though, is it's going to be increasingly obvious the people who don't have it. And then once that happens, then everyone is going to start doing it. Because imagine you're a parent and your children's AP class is so advanced because 100% of the students have a chip. And your child, 10 years prior would have been A+ student in all the honors classes, would have been in all the AP classes. But now everyone has the chip, and then the rate of which they're learning is just so superhuman. You're going to have a lot of parents saying, well, dang it, if I don't put a chip in my child, they're not going to be successful. They can't be a lawyer. They can't be a doctor. And so they're going to do it.
They're not even really going to be, they're not even going to be learning necessarily because they're going to be drawing down from cloud-based, universal knowledge base. So you're just tapping in, just like you're going to Google and looking stuff up.
That's one angle, but I think there will be an angle where a chip will have you increase your recall ability. So you will still be downloading into the wet brain, into the wet meat system, but you'll just be enhancing it with the digital. And so it's not like, oh, I don't need to know anything because I'll just recall it. It will really just swell up your hippocampus with just so much info. And TJ, I'm gonna paint a scenario for you where you would want a chip.
Yeah.
You go to Bitcoin Miami and 5% of people have chips. You fast forward 3 years later, 80%, in every room where you walk in, everyone's having these high-level conversations in Mandarin, and then they look at the people without chips and they roll their eyes. And then you're going to feel like an idiot. And you're going to say, damn it, next year, I think I am going to have a chip because I don't want to walk in a room and feel like an idiot.
Well, I don't think the timeline is going to happen. I think it's a lot more applicable for Hannah or Decker than me just on the age difference. Because hopefully by the time, if it happens and I'm like 60, I'm gonna be like, meh, I'm retired. I'm living on my own. I've got myself sovereign stuff figured out. I don't need to worry about that anymore. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm leaning towards. Somebody said my son needs a microchip. All he does is sit around and smoke weed. So, different strokes for different folks. It's a really interesting discussion. I'm sure I've never really watched a lot of Black Mirror. It sounds like it either is or should be a Black Mirror episode. And somebody made a good point. Isn't this exactly like pharmaceuticals now? Adderall is used in many schools, and those kids without it may be at a disadvantage. And that's the concept of what a lot of us are talking about.
They have withdrawals.
Still biochemically based. So this is going to be the first time we're actually bridging that gap into, I guess, the technologically based and kind of making. I'm trying to think of the term, not Borg, but once you actually do biological machinery. I know there's some fun term for that.
Well, here, my limit and where I stand on it right now, my limit is I would use, I'll use a smartphone. It's basically the same, it's an extension of me. It really is an extension of us. It's just not like connected. I will use ear pods that I could take in and out. But to have something permanently implanted in me that I may or may not have full control over time, that's where I start to, the conspiracy theorist in me starts to kick in. They're like, hey, it might sound great now. Get this thing put in, and then 10 years from now, they're updating something. Another 10 years goes by, they're updating something else, and then you're losing control over a lot of different things. You're not able to think. Maybe they're downloading. Maybe they're downloading all your inner thoughts, and you don't know it, and then they start to use them against you in the court and all that sort of stuff.
Maybe they're actively black bagging people that have naughty thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. They could be like. There's a lot. Just like any technology, though. There's good uses for it. There's bad uses for it. The technology itself isn't necessarily.
And this comes down to decentralized versus centralized. Who owns it?
Right.
Is it going to be open source? Like those are like paradigm base level first questions.
Yeah, somebody said the what about the movie Limitless, pill or chip that fully unlocks your brain? Yeah, another interesting.
Gattaca. A lot of people throwing out the Gattaca references. Everybody here seen it?
That came out in like 6th grade.
Yeah, they test your genetics, and they're I think it's for astronauts, and like, oh well, you have a weak heart, you're out. And so this guy lies about his genetics, and it's like him, trying to he's on the jogging machine. It's Drew giving 110%, while the guy with the good genetics is just kind of like half-assing it. And then, as soon as you leave the room, Drew takes his thing off. He's like, like gasping for breath. And I think we're going to see something like similar, where, oh, you want to be an investment banker at Goldman Sachs? You got your chip? Oh. No, well, you're not hired.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that will be a reality at some point in time. It's just a matter of when and what it looks like. And to BJ's point, who owns it? Is it open source? Is it a public good? And again, this is something that
are we going to have smart monkeys first?
Well, yeah, that's what they're not going to let them test it on humans.
I'm just telling you, the first time somebody figures out to just bring a EMP into a crowded area, everybody's effed.
Yeah.
Maybe
Drew's the guy.
Maybe
Drew's the guy. Well,
I'm pretty sure if they would make it if it goes inert, you don't die.
No, you wouldn't.
Right?
Die,
maybe just go to base level.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do with remote wavelengths and everything. Yeah,
it gets trippy quick. That's what I'm saying. And you can. There's a lot of ways to show pros, but then there's also a ton of risks. Obviously, I like that the chat is lighting up. Everybody's definitely interested in this discussion. We have 450 people in here now, 234 likes. There's no way we don't get to 420 likes right now. Come on, if you somebody said they don't smoke but they like a good whiskey.
In the words of Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is, my opinion is, I've already stated this, but it's a hard no. And it's because CBDCs are going to be tied to these systems that they're going to plug into your head, and they're going to sell them to you with safety features. Basically, you're going to be sold this idea of you'll know how to proactively solve the health issues that you're going to have because it's written in your DNA. And then all of a sudden, when you're watching television and you disagree with the new elected official, you won't be able to purchase.
Just in your mind. Yeah. Just think about any kind of public dissonance and they can come after you. Somebody said too much of the the Zeus 528, too much of the human body is electrical. I just can't trust it. I mean, it's going to take a long time to build trust with these things. Like I said, hopefully it's not something I necessarily have to cross the bridge and deal with. My kids probably will, and it gets very interesting very quickly.
Also, chemistry bros talking about genetic modification pre-birth. So as of now, you have two main cell lines. You have somatic and then germline. So if I do a somatic cell edit on myself, when I die, that's what happens. If you do a germline, every single offspring from you has it. So with the question with that, currently germline edits are illegal currently. So that's something to keep in mind with that.
Interesting. So real quick, same vein, quick twist, because Ben and I were actually talking about cloning and cloning humans the other day. And sure, you probably could do it, but they're not going to necessarily be fully intelligent, fully capable, or whatever. So, first question.
Well, that's when you get into epigenetics real quickly too.
Yeah. First question, just to establish a baseline: are clones human? Yes or no?
Are they somatic cell nuclear transferases or therapeutic?
Either one.
Well, they're two very different things.
I don't care. Just
yeah, just answer. Jeez.
Yeah, yes or no? It was a yes or no question.
What is
politician?
What is human?
Jesus.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Matt Walsh. Jesus Christ, freaking Matt Walsh.
No, that is the
man.
question. What is you? Hannah said no. Drew, what do you say?
Are clones human?
Yeah.
No.
DZ?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. BJ?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would probably lean towards yes. In a human.
Is Molly a sheep? The clone sheep? Do you look at that and say that's not a sheep?
Right.
I gotta look
at that and say it's a sheep.
It's trippy. So they're talking about not allowing to test on humans what if they can clone humans and get the bodies and get the organisms and get the biological part right, but the what's the word I'm looking for? Consciousness and intelligence is the hard part. So they can start making clones and then chipping them, and then boom, you've got a very highly intelligent, highly capable human clone. You know, what is that world? Now all of a sudden, and then you start getting AI into there. Now you've got these human-like things or humans that are hyper intelligent, hyper capable, more capable than your traditional human because they're not microchipped. And now you've got a battle of human versus clone on who gets more cutting edge technology first. Thoughts? Anybody?
I just want a bunch of 18-year-old clones when I'm like in my 80s, so I can just like pluck out fresh eyeballs and like get a new liver. And like, you know, I'll scalp them. You know, like,
that would eliminate the need
do that now. So like with induced pluripotency, so basically, I know I've ranted about this before.
We're gonna grow hard on a mouse's ass.
You don't even have to do that. So it's like literally, you take a skin cell, you reprogram it, you make your own cell line, so that they literally are you. So you don't have to worry about rejection.
I want to kill the young me though. Like I want to pluck the eyeball. Like I want to look at it like Mortal
Chill
Kombat.
out, Kang.
Yeah, I was just saying, DZ's taking the dark.
Literally Kang the Conqueror.
I want to hold his nostrils as he gets awareness, and then I want to cover his mouth.
Oh, and then you forget about the gills behind his ears.
Yeah.
And after this all happens, you'll wake up in the Matrix pod and look around and be like, how did we all get here?
Chemistry Bro says that's a movie called The Island.
Yeah, The Island. Yeah.
Rich people have clones that are hidden away and ready for harvesting when the rich person gets sick.
They have like working brains. I'd have it like as a vegetative state.
Right. It's just sitting there.
Yeah,
in a
because then
lab.
it'd fight me as I'm stealing its eyeball.
The need for the black market and for selling organs illegally. That makes... Think about how Elon Musk was telling everybody to have kids on the Full Send podcast.
He was doing the work himself. Did you see him?
Yeah, he's got a lot of kids.
He has a lot of kids with a lot of different women, and he's telling everybody that they need to make children so that our population doesn't decline anymore. Elon Musk wants our population to increase.
Hey, loud and clear, Elon. You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go forth and be
It's
fruitful.
definitely bad if it shrinks. We can have a conversation. Oh, it can't grow forever, whatever. That's a whole nother show, but it's bad if it shrinks.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad for a lot of things.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, well, that was a pretty interesting discussion. That's what you get here in the basement. You get a lot of crypto, you get a lot of stuff, but hey, you might also just get some interesting discussions. Let's see, what does King Corn say? Quick question for the crew: when should I move my ETH from my ledger back to Coinbase in order to avoid extremely high gas fees for the next bull run? I'd like to be able to take profits without spending hundreds on gas.
When America goes to bed.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it at night, and I would say if you're talking about the top of the next bull run, the gas fees are going to be dramatically decreased by then compared to what they are right now. They're already on the way down. We're going to see a lot of the upgrades that come out in 23 and 24 are all designed to reduce gas fees and increase throughput on Ethereum. So you're not going to have the same experience in 25 as you did in 21.
TJ, you did say you had kids. Damn, I didn't know you had kids. LOL. Said my kids, plural.
Well, no, I don't.
He's saying hypothetically.
Future tense. Like the next generation will most definitely have to cross this bridge, in my opinion.
It's not illegitimate children running around.
No,
if you're wondering.
I do not have. I have one baby on the way in the still cooking.
They didn't know if it was some from Young Dumb and crypto days.
No, nothing.
I'm really TJ's
No
son.
kids from those days. Yeah, BJ is my clone child.
Oh my god.
All right, real quick, just wanted to close with a little crypto news. Some of you guys know HBAR had a huge unlock March 1st, 3 billion tokens that could create a buying opportunity. Also interesting news, same day, Brian Brooks appointed to the board of the HBAR Foundation. Brian Brooks, very prominent, used to be Coinbase, I believe, and Binance. He was the CEO of Binance US for a hot minute. Also used to be if you guys don't know, Office of the Comptroller, currently CEO of Bitfury Group. Yeah, former CEO at Binance, former acting U.S. Comptroller of the currency. Very politically connected.
He was spicy in politics too about protecting crypto for a minute there. So
yeah, very politically connected, very connected in the digital asset world. Also, might have been involved in Silvergate Bank at the very beginning, doing legal stuff for them. I know Who's that other one? Haley Lennon, another crypto attorney, worked under him for a long time. She, I know, came from Silvergate Bank back in the day, so I think that's where the two of them linked up originally. But just another thing to keep an eye on with HBAR that piqued my attention. Like somebody was talking about the HBAR variants the other day.
Yeah, that was me. I'd had some conversations on Twitter, like they were all, you know, I mean, there was a lot of questions if I'm selling HBAR or not, and I could just tell, like, I mean, I just made the choice to hold it. I mean, I don't own a bunch of it, and there's no real reason in selling more of it. I sold some of it when it had that good pump previously, and I didn't think that the like community was gonna like, you know, dump it just because of the news. What? Did I have something in my ear?
No, you're good.
I just want to do the slow psycho turn for no reason.
Yeah, everybody's wondering how psychotic DZ really is because he wants to pluck eyeballs out of clones and he wants to fight them to the death.
I mean, that's pretty metal.
Yeah, DZ's hardcore. Guys.
I would fight 3 of them to the death simultaneously, but I have weapons they don't.
Right. He'd fight them when they were like 18.
Actually, I'd just beat up a bunch of infants. I would keep escalating and escalating. I'd start with like 10, go up to 20. The second I get a couple bruises, I'd like stop because I don't want to like die.
You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to injure the real parts.
No, but give me like 55-year-old DZs. I'm kicking some faces in.
Oh my god.
Let's see. You could also just not send to Coinbase and swap it on L2 and a DEX. Yeah, that's good advice there, chemistry bro. But thank you, Joseph Cooper said congratulations. I think that's about all we have time for today. We love all of you guys. D Godfather, Shrimpy Scapegoat, PT Reddish, Ice Stack, Loki, let's see, the Deadwood, Paper Plane, Steve Prince, Crypto Curious, this is the Bitcoin Ray, Razmataz, Casino Doggy, IB Mike King, Mainly Crypto, Crimson Caravan Company, the Zeus 528, 918 Rep, Crypto Biker 73, Covert. Is that Covert Fours? LJGG, Razmataz. I think I already said that one. Clueless Clown, IB Mike King. This is the Gway. That'd be a great user.
This is the Gway. Love it. Love it.
All right. We love all of you guys. We will see you back here tomorrow on Friday. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
I want to hurt myself.
Share some crypto with a friend. Be proactive. Don't be a clone.
Don't do anything weird.
Enjoy your life.
Are you a clone?
Are you?